Ever wondered what wisdom Proverbs 5 has for us today? Verse 1 encourages us to pay attention to wisdom's call. Verse 2 reminds us to keep our words sweet and insightful. Verse 3 warns against the seductive words of the unfaithful. Verse 4 contrasts the bitter end of temptation with wisdom's sweetness. Verse 5 speaks of the dangers that lead to destruction. Verse 6 highlights the lack of understanding in temptation. Verse 7 urges us to listen to wisdom and avoid temptation. Verse 8 advises to stay away from the path of temptation. Verse 9 warns about the loss of honor through poor choices. Verse 10 cautions against losing wealth to temptation. Verse 11 reflects on the regret that follows poor decisions. Verse 12 shows the realization of wisdom's importance. Verse 13 expresses regret for ignoring wise counsel. Verse 14 speaks of the consequences of a life wasted. Verse 15 uses the metaphor of drinking from one's own well. Verse 16 asks if our own waters are shared with others. Verse 17 emphasizes the importance of marital fidelity. Verse 18 celebrates the joy of a loving marriage. Verse 19 describes the beauty of love and intimacy. Verse 20 warns against straying from one's spouse. Verse 21 reminds us that God sees all our paths. Verse 22 illustrates how our choices can ensnare us. Verse 23 concludes with the warning of death from foolishness.